Afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Heather Denniston, and this is the Junk You Should Know show, which airs every Friday at noon PST, no matter where I am in the world. And right now I'm in Seattle with one of my good friends who's also in Seattle, but she's way across the pond, or the bridge, I should say. If you're in Seattle, you know what I'm talking about. Dr. Amy Bovenkamp is with us today. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Amy. Yay!
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So just quickly, last week's show, you guys go back and check it out because it's from Detox Market. It's actually the Detox Market, my new favorite thing. They are all organic products from Europe, from Canada, from different places that have slightly more stringent rules about what can go in cosmetics and makeup. And I did a great interview with their lead makeup artist and skincare specialist educator, Merity. And there was all sorts of great information. And there is a coupon there for you guys for 15% off first order. I started getting their monthly box because it's just organic bliss in a box every month, a different product, different profile of a company. It's very cool. So check that out. And then next week we have, next week I made this up, but it's going to be good because I've already done the research. It's how to improve your wellness from your iPhone or from your phone. It doesn't have to be iPhone, but I have been doing all this research on different ways that you can help up your wellness game from a whole bunch of different things you can be doing with your phone. So come check that out next week. And we also are having, Sarah Wells, who's a Canadian Olympic hurdler, is going to be on the show real shortly as well. So kind of just keep your eye out, check in every Friday at noon and join us. Now, we also have a sponsor, The Change Cave. The Change Cave is a 12-module online learning institute for women over 40 ready to up their wellness game. I will put the link below. It is just $29.99 a month, cancelable at any time. And there is so much content and wonderful community, incredible accountability. Please check it out and join us because we are having a ton of fun in the cave. So, Dr. Amy, we are here to talk about Whole30.
Yes.
And it's funny because Whole30, I mean, it's been years since it's been out and it's been insanely successful. And it's one of the programs I actually encourage clients to do because there's lots of programs out there that I don't think are as good. And so let me just give a little background about my relationship because you and I have been friends for a long time.
Yes.
We started out as colleagues because Dr. Amy helped cover my chiropractic practice when I was away. And frankly, my patients were not shy about telling me that they liked you better than me. And so I kept calling you back because there's nothing worse than coming back from vacation saying, who was that crazy person you had adjust me? No, they loved you. And so I was always very confident in your skills and you have just such a great way with patients. And then you started letting me know that you had implemented Whole30 into your life. And so I would like to start by talking a little bit about your background, and then we're going to get into what is a Whole30? Like, what is that even all about? So go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. When I was very young, I started suffering from migraines from a head injury at 8. And I subsequently had another head injury at 12 and started getting really bad migraines and found chiropractic as a way to help and manage those, which propelled me into becoming a chiropractor. And I was in practice for about 12 years, private practice. And then in the space of 13 months, I had 2 little girls and realized life needed to change. So I sold my practice and became a mom and then was able to fill in for other chiropractors. And that's what I still do. I still do vacation relief and fill-in work. My girls are 9 and 10 now, but I homeschool them. So that's the bulk of my time these days.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And so are you still practicing? Your husband, Chris, owns a practice in White Center. Mm-hmm. And are you still practicing somewhat with him on occasion or not so much anymore?
No, he has a full-time associate.
Okay.
I just kind of do the kid thing and run the household and do vacation relief.
Yeah, and you design and build your home,
yes.
Right?
Yes, we just submitted plans yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
For the next big project. that takes up a little bit of time too.
Yeah, I have been to it was the first one you designed and built,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And gorgeous. Oh my gosh, like incredible.
Just a labor of love.
Yeah, just incredible talent and eye for design. That was just a nice little side note about Dr. Amy's many, many, many skills and talents.
Yes.
So if people are just tuning in and they're like, what the heck is a Whole30? Can you just give us a definition of what is it?
What I say about Whole30 is, first of all, let me say what it's not.
Okay.
It is not a diet. It is not a weight loss plan.
Okay.
Although many people are successful in losing weight, which includes me.
Yep.
What a Whole30 is it's stripping your body of all of the junk and really letting it clean out, letting your gut heal, your hormones reset. And then it's a very calculated reintroduction plan to see how different foods or types of foods affect your body. And ultimately, it's for you to find your very best nutritional makeup, which makes you feel good 100% of the time. And if you choose to go off plan or have those foods that you do react to, it's just making a choice and knowing what the consequences of that choice are.
Yeah.
Basically, how miserable do you want to be?
Yeah. I always say there's no cheating. It's just choices. We're not children.
That's right.
We're adults and
That's
we make
exactly
choices.
right.
We don't cheat. And so
Yes.
I think that's great. And I got a hilarious story about Melissa Hartwig. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm at the Paleo FX conference in Austin 2 years ago. I go down on the vendor floor, and the next thing after that is Melissa, amazing Melissa Hartwig, who invented the Whole30
Yes.
with her husband.
Yes.
She is going to be speaking to us next. So I'm on the vendor floor. I make a couple stops at some booths, and then I'm walking up to the classroom, and it's just me and her in the hallway. So I turned to her and I said, "Hi, Melissa." And she goes, "Oh, hi." And I'm like, "Hi." Like I thought maybe she thought she knew me or something. So we stop and we talk for a full minute. And then she's like, "Well, I should probably get going." I said, "Yeah, okay, I know you're teaching." Just as she leaves, a friend of mine comes up to me and she goes, "Heather, what is all over your face?" I said,
Oh, no.
I said, "What?" She said, "It looks like you're a leper." I said, "What?" And she goes, "You have to," and I start doing this and she goes, "Oh, no, honey, you've got to go to the bathroom." So I go to the bathroom and I kid you not, it looked like I was a snake, like skin was peeling off. What had happened was I stopped by this ridiculous collagen cream booth and they put it all over my face and neglected to tell me you have to go and peel it off after a few minutes.
That's helpful.
Yeah. And so I stood and talked to Melissa. She didn't say a word. I was peeling
God bless
like a
her.
leper. God bless her. And she just gave me her full attention and then on she went. So Melissa Hartwig is the originator and founder of the Whole30.
Yes.
To hear her speak, she is incredibly eloquent and intelligent, knows her stuff. And yeah, I just was very inspired by her leper skin and all. So, so anyways, back to the Whole30. So what is the actual structure? If I say, I'm going to do a Whole30, what do I have to know?
So the main basics of the plan, and I have my little cheat sheet here because I end up forgetting one if I don't look, but it's not to consume any sugar of any kind. And that goes into even, maple syrup and honey, basically no sweeteners.
Okay.
No alcohol, even for cooking.
Okay.
No grains, which most of us consider as gluten.
Yeah.
No legumes, which the biggest one is usually peanut butter, soy, that type of thing.
So soy, let me stop you there for a sec. Soy is a tricky one just because it's, people need to realize it is in soy isolate is in everything.
Yes.
Soy lecithin, soy whatever, it's in everything. And so it's not the edamame beans, guys. It's not the little
Right.
cans of tofu. It's, you got to read the ingredients. Moving on.
Yes.
What else?
No dairy of any kind, whether that's goat with, chev or goat's milk, anything.
Okay.
No preservatives, specifically carrageenan, MSG, sulfites, that type of thing. And one of the hardest ones for most people is not to consume any fake baked type of goods, even if the ingredients are compliant on the program.
Okay.
And what I've found about that piece is it's really about a lot of your habits and your relationship with food.
Yes.
Which this program is immensely eye-opening for that. I underestimated that piece when I went through it personally.
Yeah.
But those are the real specifics. The other one, non-food related, is to not get on the scale or take any measurements while you're on the program. And again, that's sort of about the relationship with your body.
Yeah.
Which
is so
I
great.
find if people are going to cheat, that is the one thing they always seem to cheat on.
Interesting.
Because you start noticing things very quickly and they want to know and track that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a great exercise to learn to make how you nourish your body about nourishing your body, not about a particular outcome on the scale or measurements.
Yes, lots of people, their whole day is decided when they step on the scale in the morning. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that is so true. So true. So one question I have, because I am largely paleo, kind of a 90-10 paleo plan, which means I have a martini on Friday night. But for the most part, everything you just said is also paleo, but I know they differ slightly. So do you have a sense of like what's different about Whole30 versus just going strict paleo?
I kind of call Whole30 paleo on steroids.
Okay.
And some of the main differences are alcohol primarily. Paleo does allow.
And the sweeteners.
The sweeteners, yes. Maple syrup, honey, those are often acceptable on paleo.
Yeah.
But I think paleo at its premise is a fantastic idea, but I think there's too many ways to sort of stretch the boundaries.
Yes.
And Melissa Hartwig has a wonderful video on the Whole30 Facebook page called Sex with Your Pants On. I highly recommend it to anyone.
Oh.
But it talks about how you can stretch those boundaries, for example, with baked goods. I mean, you can find, and she says this, a paleo Pop-Tart these days.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So the premise of paleo is great, but if you're using it to stretch the boundaries, again, sort of those relationships with food, it can really get you off track, which is what I found personally.
Yeah, and I think too, when I started paleo about 8 or 9 years ago, that was not the case, but because it's become a major marketing tool, I picked up it was called Paleo Bar something, and the second ingredient was rice syrup, which it's not. So A, what's being marketed as paleo often isn't, and B, let's say this again, Whole30 and paleo is about getting away from processing, getting to whole food ingredients, eating what's seasonal and just what is well sourced, and instead of trying to substitute.
Right.
I want to substitute my muffin, so I'm going to make it paleo. That's stretching the boundaries, I think, as you say, right?
And you can make it Whole30 compliant.
Yeah.
She talks a lot about pancakes. You can find amazing pancake recipes that are Whole30 compliant. But if it turns into a habitual thing and you're just substituting the ingredients, you're not really addressing some of the other components of your relationship with food, it's not helping you.
Oh, that is so good. Such good information there. Now, this is a good time. I haven't read the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you.
Okay.
But this is the Starts with Food book.
Yes.
I'm sure Dr. Amy.
That's her latest one.
This is such a good one. Discover the Whole30.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's her first one. That is sort of what I call the science behind the program.
Yeah. So if you want more detail and, like you say, more science, and there's tons of there's 40 pages of references. So she's not just making this stuff up.
Yes.
This is a great place to start. But Dr. Amy, maybe we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the groups that you do, but are there other resources? You mentioned the Facebook group. What other resources are available to people if they want to learn more about Whole30 or how to get started?
Well, you know, the Whole30 website is a very, very comprehensive website.
Okay.
They have some fantastic forums, thousands and thousands of questions and discussions.
Wow, great.
They also have some really great downloads, like for shopping lists. Let me just show. This is the download called Sneaky Sugars, and I used to take this to the grocery store. This is more than 30 different names for sweeteners or sugars.
Oh, interesting.
Because the food industry is so crafty.
Yeah.
They have lots and lots of different names that can mislead you. They also have one that talks about the different additives or preservatives. And for our participants that we coach through it, I would put the sugars on one side and the preservatives on the other in a plastic sleeve and say, just take it to the grocery store.
That's brilliant.
Go
ahead.
The one major thing this program will start you doing is reading labels like you have never read before.
Yeah.
And you will be amazed at how you think the most simple product can contain just crap that is so unnecessary for it. It's disappointing, but very educational.
Totally.
So the website has lots of downloads. It has shopping lists, pantry items. It's very, very thorough.
That's great.
The other book, the actual Whole30 book, you can see all my tabs here.
Yes.
This can get you through the program with nothing else. It has all of the rules. It has timelines, what you can expect on different days, which is very accurate. It has a couple sections titled Can I Have?
Yeah.
Related to food and liquids.
Okay.
This is all you need if you could only buy one book, because there's 5 now.
Yeah.
This is the one that can get you through, no question.
Okay, and we'll put the links to all of these below. And I have that one in Arizona. I went looking for it today. And I'm like, crap, I have that one. And mine is also full of sticky notes. Because frankly, whether you're on a Whole30 or not, the recipes are amazing. She does.
One of the other newer ones, I've done probably 8 rounds of Whole30.
Okay.
Personally, and with groups we coach. One of the newer ones is day by day. And I sort of thought, I'm good. I don't want to say I know it all, but I'm very comfortable with the program. But I picked this up in round 7, and it's fantastic. It has a daily motivation from Melissa. It has a daily tip. It has some journaling available, and it was very helpful to pick up even after I've done so many different rounds.
Yeah, that's great.
This is a great one too.
So, Dr. Amy, what do you find? Because I know I've talked to lots of people that have done them, lots of people who have incredibly great success. And then I've talked to some people who are like, oh, I got 5 days in, I felt so horrible. So let's talk about the detox reaction. Can you share a little bit about what might happen when you're day 5, day 6, day 7? Tell me a little bit about that.
So it can be very unpleasant in the first week. I am not going to lie. But for me, my life and my day-to-day was very unpleasant. I mean, I had gotten to a point where I just felt my body was polluted. My joints were sore. I moved slow. I felt very reliant on being near a bathroom all the time. And at some point you figure, which is worse, that which I feel every day, or I'm going to detox. So in the first week, Melissa says in the book, the amount of suck you experience in the beginning is proportional to how off the rails you were, basically. And I think that's a good way to put it. She also describes it as the carb flu,
Ah,
oftentimes.
yeah.
But if you think about, there are lots and lots of people very reliant on sugar to get them through the day, whether that's sodas or candy bars or whatever their vice is.
Yeah.
When you strip that out of your diet, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I personally like about Whole30 from a different detox program I did, which I really liked and was quite successful, is you can have coffee. I personally very much enjoy coffee.
And so does most of the nation.
Very creative ways to make my favorite coffees. But that's one thing that I didn't have to come off of for this program that I appreciated.
Yeah, and I think you touched on this. People are coming into this with either realized or unrealized food addiction, and food addiction, especially when it comes to sugar, is not that much different than a cocaine addiction or any other kind of drug addiction.
That's right.
You're going to have these same withdrawal symptoms. You know, the what do they call it? The DTRs or something like that, when you like you're shaky and you feel fluey and you feel dry and so, but I always go back to when I'm going through that, I'm like, yeah, get it out of my system, get that junk out of there. And it's an opportunity to reflect and say, look what I've been doing to my system, and that it has that much of a detox reaction.
Yes.
My own receptors and things have been shut off so much because they're so tired of screaming, stop feeding me this. Yes. It is quite an opportunity to meditate on that. Like it's amazing. So I think that's great information. And yes, people are very happy about the coffee part. Yes. And so it's good. And okay, so you had tried other things. You've done like 7 or 8 now. What have your personal results been?
So I sort of got into this. I was well over 270 pounds and had sort of hit a rock bottom with my little girl's parroting in my closet about my body and realized I need to make a change to be a better example for them. And how I kind of started on this journey is I started working out. Again, I was miserably uncomfortable in my day-to-day life. And I would start exercise programs and be miserably uncomfortable with soreness and that type of thing. And I just decided that can't be any worse than how I feel. Yeah. And the example I'm setting for my daughters. Yeah. And so I started working out at a boot camp program, and I decided this is the only thing I'm going to change right now for 6 months. Because when I tried before, I was going to exercise and I was going to diet and I was going to journal and I was going to meditate, and it was too much, too fast, and I would fail every time. Yes. So I worked out very diligently for 6 months, and I lost 15 pounds. And I said to my husband, I am working way too hard to not be seeing better and more results. And he lovingly said, well, honey, we are really off the rails with our diet. And I said, you're right. And as Dr. Heather mentioned, he's also a chiropractor, and he works with his patients with the Eat Well, Live Well, Think Well model. And the Eat Well part is very difficult for a lot of people. And he had tried different programs in the past. Most of them, and most of the programs we see out there are very product-based or supplement-based. And he doesn't sell product or supplements. Yeah. And he said, let's try this Whole30, because he wants to refer patients to an easy, realistic way to address that piece of their healthcare as well. I said, great, let's try it. And we started Whole30, and in the next 6 months, I lost 45 pounds. Now, I will say, I know I said earlier in the program, Whole30 is not a diet or a weight loss plan, but it works very well for some people. Once your gut is healed,
Yes.
You learn about your relationships, portioning. One of the other great things about this program is you do not count calories.
Yeah.
It's not what it's about. In fact, most people need to eat more food because you're replacing empty calories with whole, dense, good calories.
Yeah.
And so for me, I've lost about 80 pounds. And I have held that for about 2 years now.
Wow.
I have more I want to do. I have a next phase I want to get to. But this for me, this program has been life-changing. It has changed my energy in ways I can't even describe. It has set an example for my children and my family.
Yes.
It has broken every craving I have ever had. I mean, food for me right now it's calories and energy. It's not about taste and cravings. Most of the time I'm never hungry. I eat at periodic intervals because I know my body needs the energy. I still do boot camps 4 days a week, but I don't have cravings of any kind anymore.
Yeah. I love that. And the other thing I love about Whole30 is that every time you go through it, you're not doing anything you couldn't do long term.
Yes.
You are learning every single time, and it's a practice. So, it's something that you are, every time you're like, okay, now I totally understand how to cook with these vegetables. And now I understand what I need for fuel in the morning. And that's what's so great. And I'm just going to say it, but programs like Ideal Protein, Jenny Craig, even Weight Watchers, if you're using packaged food, these are not ongoing sustainable programs. And the exit is always
done them all.
Yeah. And the exit is always painful because you're like, woo, look at me. And 3 months later, you hadn't learned anything because you were on packaged food or whatever. And whereas the Whole30 is a wonderful testing ground for you to practice getting off those addictive foods and eating, really naturally whole, nourishing foods. So it's another reason that I just love it too.
That's one of the keys. I ran into a friend who was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing this program called the Whole30." And she said, "So what are you eating? Sawdust?" And quite frankly, I feel like when I'm eating on plan, I am eating like a king. It is good, wonderful food. I'm not missing out on anything. And my body, the more I do it, the more my body craves it.
Yes. Yeah. I know undoing all of those. When we eat so much sugar and so much processing, our body is in crisis. Our body is in survival mode. It's not operating optimally. And when you start seeing what it feels like to operate optimally, it's like, why wouldn't I? This just makes such sense.
Exactly.
So great. So question about that, because when you're done the Whole30, do they have a suggested sort of maintenance program on how you continue to have these great results? And because the idea, Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, the idea is you do a Whole30 and then you take a break and then you might do another one. How does that all work?
Well, I think you do a Whole30, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
You find out how your body reacts to things. And really the idea and what it's become for me for the first time ever out of any program I've done, and I've done it all. I yo-yo dieted for years.
Yeah.
That it becomes a lifestyle. And again, it goes back to you're choosing how you want to feel every day. I mean, we have one participant from our April group who is still on. It's October now.
Yeah.
She's never gone off. She said, this has been life-changing. I don't know why I would ever go back. I've never felt better.
Yeah.
And for us, we there are some things I'll sort of let sneak back in. Alcohol is one. Yeah. Corn tortillas is another. We like our tacos. But for the most part, we stay on plan about 95% compliant.
Yeah, that's great.
And again, when you are making choices, it's just, how's your body going to feel?
Yeah.
Do you want to feel that way tomorrow or not?
Yeah.
And depending upon the degree of your reactions, it can be a great deterrent.
For sure. And what some people don't understand is when you've gone off sugar for 30 days, or you've gone off, let's say wheat or dairy, and you reintroduce it, your body now is operating optimally and will respond in force.
Yes.
And so people are like, well, maybe I should eat just a little bit to kind of, keep my body used to it. And it's like, no, what you're doing is shutting down the signals and still having all the damage.
Yes.
And so when you go off it and then you reintroduce it and your body makes your gut feel sick, you have a headache, you're irritable, you have joint pain, that's your body going, no, this isn't ever going to work, or it's not going to work for a long time.
Right.
Then,
we had one participant, he was in his mid-30s, a young stay-at-home dad. He was on 9 prescription medications. And by the end of his program, again, just 30 days, he was off 5 of them.
Wow.
Because they were all related to joint inflammation, irritable bowel syndrome. I mean, just the hodgepodge of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, why would I want to be reliant on those medications at 30 some years old?
Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
And you and I have great expertise in knowing that one medication leads to a second, leads to a third. Yes. And so the fewer you are on, the less likely you are to be on more. And so that is tremendously wonderful. I love hearing your case study stories. So you've mentioned that you guys do some coaching in this. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you and Chris do your groups and how someone local might get involved?
Yeah, so we periodically run groups through his office, mostly for his patients, because what he's found in that eat well, move well, think well philosophy is if people are not eating well, they don't get better, no matter what type of treatment they're undergoing. So if we can sort of help address that piece, everything else gets better with regard to their nervous system, their musculoskeletal system, and their overall health. Yeah. So what we do is we offer a coaching program where we have 3 in-person meetings. We do our first one about 10 days before we start. Okay. And that's to help people get into the books, sort of start getting their mind ready for it, and also to start cleaning out their house, their fridge and their pantry. Yes. And I offer to go to people's houses and do that for them. Yeah. If they need that help, and to get it off the premises. We've had people who just put it in their garage or their base, get it off the premises. Yeah. Then we have a meeting on about day 10 or 11, because what Melissa Hartwig has found is that is when most people bail out of the program. Yeah. It's sort of lost its luster. Yeah. It's just losing its appeal. And so we try and get people in and in front of them on day 10 or 11 to keep encouraging them. And then we have a meeting sort of at the end where we talk about reintroduction, because again, that's what this whole program is about, is the reintroduction phase. We have a private Facebook page where I post a lot of recipes and articles and encouragement. And I keep in touch with people either by text or email throughout the whole 30 days and oftentimes after. Yeah. And I have about 30 different recipes that I have gathered and collected that are on the easy side, because that's how my life needs to be too. Yeah. On the easy side. So that's sort of how we do the whole program.
Yeah, that's great. So there was something in there I wanted to recap about. Oh, the reintroduction. So when you're done the 30 days, there is specifics on how to start with your wheat or your dairy or your sugar and rotate it, I'm assuming.
Yes, there's a specific order of reintroduction. Okay. And there's a specific timeline. And there's 2 different ways you could do it. There's lots of people that just continue on the program after 30 days. They feel like, maybe they need more time, or they're just feeling good enough that nothing appeals to them to go back to.
Yeah.
And so they just decide maybe when there's a special occasion or something they feel like trying, they'll do it then. But otherwise they stay on the program. Or there's a very calculated reintroduction and timeline and order of reintroduction.
Yeah.
So you can really test your body as far as how it's responding physically, emotionally, with regard to your energy and all of that.
Yeah, when we reintroduce foods that our bodies don't like, it's not necessarily going to be an immediate reaction. It can be 24, 36, 48 hours later. A lot of people don't make that connection. And so that's why we rotate. You don't do a pizza first step out, because that's got dairy and wheat and probably sugar if it's processed. So you're not going to know. You're not going to have any idea. And so it is important to reintroduce one at a time, really pay attention. And I love too, Amy, again, another thing about the program is it's calling you to go inward and really learn about your body and feel how you're feeling in a really true head connected and heart connected way.
Yes.
So I think, again, just another, I think, guys, whenever you are out looking at a program, these are the kinds of criteria you want to look at. Is it whole food? Is it sustainable? Is it contributing long-term to transformational health, not just short-term weight loss? How is it researched and backed? And Melissa has done tons of incredible research, and she's very, very well versed. You'll see that on the website. You'll see that on her Facebook page. So I think it's a great choice for people. And I've always said too, like you said, it's not a diet. It's a way to kind of figure out your stuff around food and to connect with food in a really healthy way. And through that process, I will say most of the people I've seen on it have lost weight and sustained it, as long as they don't go binge crazy after. But
we've had participants who have gained weight because they needed to. They gained muscle mass.
Nice.
We put all of our participants on a bioimpedance scale that tests like 9 different markers, and one of them is muscle mass.
Okay.
We've had people lose a tremendous amount of weight. One of the other markers that Whole30 stresses, which I really like, are what are called non-scale victories. There's 147 non-scale victories.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Whole30 outlines, and that's about, sleep and mood and energy and your emotions beyond just the physicalness of, hey, my wedding ring fits better.
Yeah. I love that. That's so great. That inspires me. I want to look that up and see what those all are, because
they're fantastic.
That can make it, because if you're looking at one data point and that's down at a number, that is a rudderless boat being tossed around the waves, because we can be up and down 3 to 5 pounds in a day.
Yes.
So it's, and I loved what you said at the beginning, where you said, the number on the scale can change what your whole day looks like for many people. And so getting away from that, learning more about how to actually nourish and feed ourselves is so tremendous.
Yeah, we've had participants where we actually had them bring us their scale, because they were those types that weighed every day.
Yeah.
And that sort of predicted their day. And we just said, bring it in.
That's great.
We'll
hold on to it for you. That's great.
Yeah.
So we're going to put in the comments below how to reach you, Dr. Amy, because you could potentially work remotely as well. If somebody from out of state wants to work with you, they can.
Yes.
And so you guys can reach Dr. Amy that way. And if you're local, anything in person is going to be super powerful. So if you are local, just call Dr. Amy. She'll get you set up with it whenever their next program is starting. Would be great. And I think, there were a couple Whole30 hacks that we had talked about talking about. Is there anything that we've missed in that regard, or did we cover it?
Well, I had some products I was going to show for people.
Oh, do.
If that's helpful.
Yes.
One of the things with regard to no dairy, can't have any dairy, which for a lot of people, they are reliant on butter.
Yes.
But you can have ghee. And these are a couple examples that come from Trader Joe's. You can make your own. I personally don't have time in my life to make my own.
Yeah.
Another thing, I used to only drink coffee because it was a vehicle for creamer.
Oh yeah, and I know where you're going with this, but just let me say, guys, ghee is one of the most. It is so much more flavor than butter.
Yes.
So delicious. So are you talking? Are you bulletproofing here? Are you going to talk about ghee and coffee?
We use coconut oil.
Oh, perfect.
Bulletproof for sure. We also this is coconut milk cream. And we pour these into 4 different little receptacles and freeze them, make ice cubes, and blend it with our coffee.
Oh, nice.
Or over fruit with some balsamic vinegar.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Sweet treat.
Yeah.
Nut butters are fantastic. Of course, you can't do peanut butter, but
yeah.
Trader Joe's has an excellent sun butter. There's one with sugar and one without. So again, read your labels.
Yep.
Costco's almond butter.
Yep. Fantastic.
And speaking of Costco, I will say there's a great website out there called the Costco Connoisseur.
Oh.
And she has a particular link called Surviving Your Whole30 at Costco.
That is great.
A lot of people think they have to have like a Whole Foods or a PCC nearby, which are great and helpful, but you can do this just with Trader Joe's and Costco, in my opinion.
That's great.
Also, speaking of Costco, lots of people love their bacon.
Yeah.
Almost all bacon on the market is sweetened with brown sugar or maple syrup or honey. The Kirkland low salt bacon is completely compliant and very affordable.
Love it.
They actually got rid of it from my store for several months, and I wrote letter after letter after letter after comment card, and it came back.
That's awesome.
I don't. You don't understand. This is Whole30 compliant. We have to have this bacon.
That's great.
Primal Kitchens is a great brand for salad dressings, mayo, all that sort of stuff. You can find them in several grocery stores, but they also have a lot of stuff online.
Is that the Chipotle mayo?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys, seriously, I get a deli roasted chicken and I just put a little of that on the side of the plate and just dab it in that. It is delicious, Bill. So that one is amazing.
One of my favorite, easiest meals, Trader Joe's, their salsa authentica. I throw a half a pork shoulder in my crock pot with a jar of this and some garlic. That's it.
Gosh, oh my word, that's wonderful. Let me just also say, guys, about what the Chipotle mayo. Many of you don't realize mayo often is loaded with crap and often sweeteners, and so you have to read the label on that. And that Primal Kitchen one, that's what's his name? The paleo guy, Sisson, Mark Sisson's product.
Mark Sisson, yes.
Yeah, and he's done a great job with that.
One of the easiest things we do too, because in my opinion, the secret to success with Whole30 is meal prep and preparing ahead of time. So I will do a weekly cook up, like on a Sunday. I'll make 3 full meals that we can have for lunch or dinner and just heat it up. For breakfast, we will pre-bake maybe 10 baked potatoes. We'll use them for home fries. We'll shred it for hash browns. We have it to use as a baked potato with protein over it. But to have it done ahead of time is absolute key. If you are not taking the time to prep on this program, it will not work for you. So there is some effort and some time you have to put into it, but I also find that part of the program carries over even after, because it just makes life go so much easier.
Oh my gosh. And everyone, we know that our weeks get insanely busy. And, you know, I've had that look when I've said to people, take 60 minutes on a Sunday and prep. And they're like, oh, I don't have the time. No, you save hours during the week when you do that, because it is seconds to grab a meal that you would normally spend another 30 or 40 minutes making every single time. And so meal prepping is an absolute no-brainer. It is worth every investment that you have to, you know, move mountains to make it happen. So I appreciate that you mentioned that, because that is a key success of any good nutrition program. But certainly if you are Whole30ing, you have to plan ahead. What is it? Fail to plan to fail, right?
Plan to fail, yes. One of the other things I'll mention, we used to eat out a lot. It was sort of one of the ways my husband took that household stuff off my plate. But for me, restaurants were a big stumbling block because no matter what I intended to do when I walked in, menus can be very enticing, and you just don't know what's going on in the kitchen as far as ingredients. So for me personally, for my first Whole30, I told my husband I want to not eat out if at all possible, which meant more meal prep for me, but that was fine. We ate out 4 times in the course of our first Whole30, which really helped me. But still to this day, because I don't really know how meals are being prepared or what ingredients are going in the kitchen, I don't do restaurants as much as we used to. We have a couple of our go-tos that we absolutely know. We've sort of asked them the whole list of questions, but that can be difficult for some people. So, you know, anyone can do this. It's just 30 days. And you're worth it. Your body's worth it. Your health is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, as far as eating out, if you can find even just 2 places that you're confident. Now, and you have to remember too, restaurants use a lot of peanut oil. They use, you know, and so those sorts of things you wouldn't even think of. And sauces and all, it's really tough. But if you can find 1 or 2 places that you're like, okay, at least I know I can slip out here and grab something, which is great. So that is awesome. Did we miss anything, Dr. Amy? I think we covered a lot of our content. I
think we did.
That's so awesome. Well, guys,
I'll be happy to follow this link. I don't really have a social media presence. I have a fake Facebook name just to be in play groups and homeschool groups for my kids. But I'll be sure and follow this this post. I'll be happy to post recipes or answer questions people might have about anything we've talked about.
Yeah, and just so I can remind myself, I'm going to put Dr. Amy's contact information. We're going to put links to the 2 books that we mentioned. We'll even put a couple links to some products. And guys, Thrive Grocery online. If you are in an area that you have trouble finding things, Thrive Grocery, what is it, $25 a year or some crazy? I think it's $60 a year. But it's almost wholesale price on all of these natural foods that we're talking about. So I will put the link to Thrive Grocery as well, because that's a great alternative for those of you in more remote areas. And like Dr. Amy said, Costco is really, I am so impressed that they are constantly looking for ways to meet the need of people shifting toward a more natural lifestyle, including their nutrition. So it's pretty awesome.
And I'll post that Costco Connoisseur link.
Yes, that's great. So make sure you keep coming back and checking the comments, guys, because we are going to be continually posting links. Share this with your friends and family. Anyone who might be interested in doing a Whole30, please share this and push it out there so that people can get the information. This was a great sort of roundup of what a Whole30 is. And I want to thank Dr. Amy for joining us and sharing her expertise. Yeah, having been through it as many times as you have and also teaching it, you were the perfect person to join me today. So I thank you from my heart. And so we'll be in touch again soon. Right now, we're going to sign off and just keep your eyes on the comments, guys. Okay? Talk to you soon.
Thank you.